This mutation is called Wheel of Misfortune and it is played on Void Launch. We have one mutator active. We have Chaos Studios. I know how much the community hates this mutation, so let's have a look at the masteries while the players get set up. We have 30 points into the Infested Structure cooldown mastery for Stukov, 30 points into the Apocalypse cooldown mastery, and 30 points into the Infantry duration mastery with Stukov playing Lord of the Horde. Pretty good prestige for this mutation. Artanis, 24 points into the Shield Overcharge, 23 points into the Warp Speed, and 23 points into the Spear of Doom. Interestingly, he is playing at level 70 Mastery, and given that this is an arcade map, I'm not really sure why, but he's gone for the Archship Commandant Prestige. So let us see what is going to be going on here. So let us talk about Chaos Studios. Chaos Studios, the community's least favorite mutation. Lots of randomness, lots of RNG, and you can get completely shafted. Now, there is an issue with Lord of the Horde, which I'll talk about in just a little bit, but the three starting mutators are We Move Unseen, Lava Burst, and Darkness, so it should not be too bad. You will need a little bit of detection for the start, but nothing either of these commanders cannot handle. I think Stukov is probably going to be the one that will be responsible for building some kind of detection here. But the issue with Wheel of Misfortune on this map is that you cannot actually all clear the map. If you clear out all the enemy structures on this map, the launch base where the shuttle spawns still counts as enemy structures, which means that there is a chance you might get propagators on this map. And if you do get propagators on this map, and you're playing Lord of the Horde, and you do not have an adequate number of bunkers available to be able to take out the propagators, then you will end up feeding the propagators and forming a poop train, which this guy over here, Eddie, is very famous for liking very much. So let's have a look at what's going on now. We have a barracks out already, Engineering Bay, and Engineering Bay is going to be researching the attack upgrades right off the bat for Stukov. We have one photon cannon over here, which is good. This photon cannon will provide the detection that Stukov needs. We're dealing with this, and you can see the attack wave is already available here, and the adepts are actually being detected by the photon cannon too, so these adepts will end up going down. Stukov's army is taking a little bit of a beating over here. Infest Structure heals up the photon cannon and will end up taking out the rest of these adepts as well, so these adepts will get surrounded and they will end up dying. So Nexus out as well. Eventually the We Move Unseen Mutator will roll out, and it will give... We'll see what the next mutator will be coming up soon. So yeah, just everything seems to be going okay so far. And we also have some SCVs rock slapping over here, which is really good. We Move Unseen has rolled out, and now the next mutator that'll be coming in will be announced in just a little bit. And so far so good. We have Diffusion active. So Diffusion again will... Diffusion basically splits the damage that you deal across all nearby units, and it can get a little bit tricky. It can get kind of difficult for Stukov, especially because you can see here Stukov's army is kind of melee, so all these broodlings are going to be dealing damage to each other and makes units just in general a lot more difficult to kill. But so far I think these broodlings are doing okay. Stukov will be struggling a little bit with that. Nexus is already out for Artanis. Artanis has actually just rushed all the way through, and he's ready to go. Level 1 attack upgrades almost on the way for Stukov as well, and we also have the Infested Colonist content upgrade. So We Move Unseen is gone, so now Stukov no longer needs detection. Sentry just spazzing out over here, and some very nice Artanis, what are they called? Orbital strikes to spawn these Archons. The Archons do actually end up dealing a little bit of overkill though on the cooldown usage. I think this Apocalypse really had everything under control. The Apocalypse will move forward now. As you can see, Stukov does not want to waste the Apocalypse cooldown. Wants to try and at least deal a little bit of extra damage to this. Again, some more Archon. Oh, this was the leftover here. So this was actually very good use of the orbital strikes. He's well aware that these these Archons can deal a lot of damage, so might as well utilize them as effectively as possible. Now, we do have the Lava Bursts rolling out of the cycle, and we have Void Reanimators active. And these Void Reanimators now are going to start spawning from around the map, and they will start resurrecting enemy units. So this is actually kind of problematic, because You also have Darkness active, and Darkness is gonna be the next one that is gonna be rolling out, so this might actually get a little bit hairy. There is a Void Ray over here as well, being a little bit annoying. And there we go, this is exactly what I was talking about. That Void Reanimator now is gonna start resurrecting everything. The shuttles have now also started to spawn, so these commanders will need to hurry up and deal with these shuttle waves as well. And also the other thing to note is that the Void Reanimators, whenever they resurrect an enemy unit, the enemy unit will be given an attack command towards the enemy's base. So these things will not just hang around here. So we do have a solar bombardment being used. Solar bombardment will take out the 2 shuttles and the hybrid as well, but that Void Reanimator I think is still alive. I'm not actually sure where the Void Reanimator went. It might have been killed off by the solar bombardment, but there we go. That shuttle is gone. Darkness has ruled out. Okay, there's the Void Reanimator. So he's just taking a little bit of a shortcut, and we have aggressive deployment active. Now, my understanding with aggressive deployment with Wheel of Misfortune is that it is bugged. I think you get 0 aggressive deployment drops unless aggressive deployment was on the starting 3 mutator set that was present when you started the game. So if you had the starting set of mutators and you had aggressive deployment, then you will get 1 aggressive deployment drop. But from my understanding, no aggressive deployment drops will spawn when you have them rolled out like this. So this is basically a free mutator where you now have to not deal with 3 mutators on the map, which is actually really convenient for these players. We still have Void Reanimators active and Diffusion as well being a little bit annoying. Notice, see how tanky the Void Reanimators are? And I'm not sure if that was intentional, but the hold command there blocked the Void Reanimator from actually getting to where it wanted to be. And you can actually block Void Reanimators like this, especially with units like Probes. You can do half blocking even on units like Propagators if you're careful, but Void Reanimators are some of the best units to try and path block by just body blocking them like that. They are kind of fat units by themselves, and if you have really fat units like Artanis' Dragoons, then you have that also available. So, Diffusion is out now, and we have microtransactions. Very nasty mutator, but given the fact that both these players have their economies established, it won't be as painful as it would normally be as if you got it on the start of the mission. So, microtransactions will charge, like, take a look at that. Look at the Void Reanimator just stuck there. Unable, oh, nope. You moved out of the way there. Oh, he's going to end up resurrecting a few more units over here. But, yeah, that Void Reanimator was actually path blocked there, and what was required is to just actually let the Dragoons be and let them kill off the enemy units, because that Void Reanimator was not going anywhere. So either you manually A-click the Void Reanimator, make sure your Dragoons not move, or you actually just let the Dragoons kill off everything they want to kill, and you can actually end up taking out the Void Reanimator in that time. Stukov has his army now, and he's actually starting to ramp up as well, so it should not be too problematic for him. But we have another attack wave that is making its way towards the players' bases, and Stukov's army is slightly out of position over there. They will end up intercepting this, so there are a few more infested over here, but Artanis already uses orbital strikes, and these Archons are going to deal an insane amount of damage to these hybrids, and the hybrids do end up going down. So what do we have next? Artanis has pretty much gotten everything under control, and Void Reanimators now has cycled out, so we should be getting no more any random enemy units here, but we do have now Time Warp active. So whatever Void Reanimators are present on the map, as you can see over here, will remain on the map. They will not be despawned or killed. So you can see over here being a little bit annoying. I think what can happen here is that there's probably a Void Reanimator somewhere hanging out in the back here on the top of that ramp. That is my guess as to where the Void Reanimator is. But once all the Void Reanimators have been cleared out, should not be too much of an issue. And Time Warp, again, not a very difficult mutator to deal with. It is a little bit annoying, but nothing really nasty. There's one Zealot over here going to town. Some more Broodlings now being used by Stukov to help out his ally, and that Zealot does end up going down, and I think all the Void Reanimators on this map have been killed off. Stukov is going to be sending his horde now across the map and start to push into these enemy bases, which is actually okay. But do remember is that, like, Propagators is a thing that you can get. So you need to be paying attention to these mutator cycles. The aggressive deployment has cycled out. As you can see, no aggressive deployment drops is active. But remember, Propagators is a thing, and the Propagators does end up activating, and the Propagator spawns, like, from one of these structures. You're going to end up with an army of, like, 20 Propagators your way on the first wave, which is something you may not want to do. But we have Twister instead spawning, so, again, Twister, another easy environmental mutator, nothing really too much to worry about. I think Twister mostly has a very big impact on the mission, like Cradle of Death, where the truck, if it walks through a Twister, will instantly die. because it does not actually get bounced away from Twister. So here, nothing really too difficult, and Artanis is also on the way, and he's going to be able to take out these shuttles pretty easily over there. So that shuttle wave has gone as well. Pretty good here for the players. And now what do we have? A bunch of Colossi here. Everything is good. Was the first bonus objective actually completed? It was actually completed. That's actually really good. So Artanis now is just going to start pushing through this map here. I think there is also a Dark Templar. I think, yeah, there's a Dark Templar there. You can see the shimmer over here. He's dealing a little bit of damage to these Dragoons. There's no detection over here, but Stukov is just going to continue pushing through because he does not care about his infested. Just in the same way as JYK does not care about his Marines that he drops into enemy bases. So this area is cleared out now, and Stukov is actually ramping up pretty well. So we have Avenger rolling in now. This one is going to be the first, like, mutator that is going to, well, not the first one, but one of the very few mutators that will actually be providing a bit of a challenge for these players, because now it's going to make the enemy units stronger and stronger. And we also have a bunch of Brood Queens here for Stukov. Stukov is just going to be rolling in with a bunch of Brood Queens. Wants to try and avoid those cannons. Gets bounced back a little bit with the Twister. Twister might actually end up getting it. No, it does not end up getting it. Has to be a little bit careful here. And these players are going to start pushing through into this enemy base. I think Stukov's horde will, like, eventually overpower everything that is trying to stop it, because, like, all these upgrades now for Stukov, like, he's getting his level 3 attack upgrades. Artanis getting his level 2 attack upgrade so far. So Artanis getting into position here, warping in a few more Dragoons, and he's ready to deal with this. And the attack wave has spawned over here, but nothing really this attack wave can't do against this wave of infested. These Brood Queens now are just going to end up taking out the rest of these shuttles over here. And Artanis also being able to take this out. Is the Dark Templar still alive here? I don't know if it's still alive or no. I think the Dark Templar is dead, but I can't see any detection from any of these players. So, okay, we have going nuclear now, and this one is gonna be like an annoyance. So we have Time Warp getting turned off, and we have going nuclear activated now. And this thing is actually going to be a little bit annoying because there's going to be a lot of nukes being dropped on the map here. And where are the nukes? Why are there no nukes on the map? Did it actually bug out? Oh no, there we go. Nukes have started to spawn. Artanis' army right in the middle is going to get clipped by a nuke. A lot of the Dragoons end up going down there. That actually kind of stings. Artanis has taken a huge hit, and he has paid his sacrifice to the inhumanity gods, as JYK does on every single game that he plays. So Stukov's horde now is going to be starting pushing through here. Artanis has taken a little bit of a hit, but he does have a few resources to be able to, build up a little bit more of an army, sitting at 132 supplies so far. How many units lost here for Artanis? Yeah, 20 of those Dragoons ended up dying, and these Dragoons actually might end up getting pulled away by the this. No, he ends up getting saved there. And yeah, this horde is just going to end up getting murdered by this one Colossus here. This max stack Colossus over there. So Twister has been deactivated now, and we have Walking Infested, which is actually kind of okay. So you're going to have a lot of infested units that will be spawning on the map, but nothing really too much these commanders cannot handle. The Dragoons may end up struggling a little bit with the horde, but again, remember that there is also Stukov there to help him out. A few more of these Dragoons do end up getting clipped by the nuke there on the low ground, and now Artanis uses his shield overcharge, and now there are a lot of disruptors over there, and Artanis realizes that those disruptors are pretty nasty. A bunch of those Dragoons do end up getting caught out by some very nice force fields from Amon. I have to give Amon credit for there. Then those Dragoons ended up getting caught out on the side there. There's another nuke coming out there. Artanis is just going to dodge those things, and now we have some orbital strikes used by Artanis just to help kill off the rest of this attack wave. There are Reavers on the high ground as well. Those Reavers will just absolutely melt through these Dragoons over here. Brood Queens jumping in as well, just using their spawn brooding ability just to weaken some more of these enemy units here. But again, lots of Reavers on the high ground, and they will be shelling these Dragoons from the low ground, and lots of tactical advantage. That was actually a masterclass in positional strategy there by Amon, so pretty nicely handled there. And now we have Photon Overload active, so this one is actually a nice also reprieve for these commanders. A little bit more of this in Weavers over here, but these Brood Queens will end up taking out the rest of these units pretty easily. So all that is left now are a couple of adepts, and that should be pretty good. And now there's another nuke over here. Artanis trying to get out of the way. Some more of these Dragoons do end up getting clipped here because he was getting body blocked by his ally. So, I'm definitely not intentional, but I'm pretty sure JYK is very, very happy at seeing the amount of inhumanity that is occurring on this game. Not only has he spawned a 1,380 units and they have died, he's killed off like a lot of his units. He's also seeing a lot of units being lost by Artanis, and that means that JYK is happy. He likes inhumanity of the highest form there. So now we have another attack wave coming up, and the attack wave has spawned. Alexander gets used over here, and we have Dragoons jumping in as well. They're gonna have absolutely no issues dealing with this next wave here, and they've actually handled they've gotten this bonus objective as well, which is also really nice. But this attack wave is moving towards Artanis's base, and it will hit this base really, really hard. But I think we have Artanis Orbit Strikes ready as well, so this should not be terrible. Going nuclear is finally over. Laser Drill is active right now, and this attack wave does end up getting pulled back by Stukov's Horde, and Artanis now uses his Orbital Strike to spawn some Archons, and these Archons will just absolutely melt the rest of these units here. Avenger also cycled out, so these units are not going to end up growing, and you can see how quickly attack waves melt with the Artanis Orbital Strikes. Very, very effective. Call them. Like I have been having a lot of fun with B3 Artanis. The orbital strikes are so strong, and you know, if you're dropping them right in the middle of a spawning attack wave, you just end up deleting that entire attack wave. So this is the final wave of the mission. We have all 3 bonus objectives done, so all that is left now is to handle these 3, and there will be an attack wave that will be spawning here. Very, very nasty attack wave as well, so it is going to get a little bit tricky. The Walking Infested will probably be cycled out in just a little time, and I think by that time, I think we may have another Mutator active as well, because these players are going to have to wait until the shuttles are ejected from the enemy base. So Walking Infested has cycled out. The next Mutator will be cycled in about 30 seconds. Darkness comes out. So again, very, very nice Mutator because you can see the ping on the minimap. So you know, detection right now, or you know, map presence isn't particularly too important. Like seeing where the attack waves are coming from and stuff, because you know where the attack wave will be spawning. So Dragoons are already available over here, and they will start to attack this enemy. I would like to see a shield overcharge being used here on these Dragoons, because there is a lot of enemy units over here, and these Dragoons are actually squishy. Yeah, there we go. Shield overcharge being utilized here, and we have solar bombardment being used here. The solar bombardment is going to be really good at dealing with the attack wave, as well as taking out the rest of these shuttles. So these shuttles now, one more has been picked off. Again, over here, these Mama ships are going to be dealing a lot of damage to Artanis' Dragoons. Over here, there's one last shuttle, but these shuttles will be picked up by the Brood Queen. And now, all there's left are these 2 shuttles to take out before the mission ends. I think these 2 shuttles should end up going down as well. The Brood Queens are on the way, and they just focus down these shuttles. So all the shuttles have been cleared. All the bonus objectives are done. Lots of inhumanity, and that is GG.